Hey there, welcome back to another collection update video this time here on the channel. I have about 4 3D titles, one 4K Ultra HD title, which is one of the 2 titles I have failed to show you in my previous collection update, and plus 3 games along with, let's see here, 2 triple packs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 titles. 9 other remaining titles to be exact. Now, before I get started, allow me to address some issue I had with one of the titles that I got in one of my past collection update videos. And that is a movie I enjoy regardless of its problems. But the main problem I have here with this particular DVD copy here, Hideaway, a decent mid-90s psychological horror thriller with Jeff Goldblum and Alicia Silverstone. Now, to make this quick, the actors are really solid in their parts. The story was interesting, though the pacing could have used some improvements in my opinion, and some of the visuals can be pretty dated, but regardless, I do enjoy it for what it is. But as I was saying, the issue I have with this copy is, originally this copy says it is formatted in 2x35x1 anamorphic widescreen, but upon playing the movie, they used the wrong format. They used the 4x3 version instead of the 16:9 version. Literally speaking, the 4x3 widescreen version, I mean. Not the 16:9 widescreen version that is formatted in 2x35x1. I mean the 4x3 full screen edition. How could you screw this up? I don't know. I mean, how could they screw this up? I don't know what were RLJ or Image Entertainment thinking. Like, seriously, this is false advertisement. I mean, false advertising. And it doesn't seem right. That's why I had to search around on some other websites like eBay and Mercari and Amazon, to name a few, until I found one for a decent price on eBay. And this is the original 2000 Columbia TriStar DVD release that includes both the widescreen and full screen edition on one disc, one flipper disc, which personally I'm not really keen on, but I'm thankful to get the widescreen version I've been looking for. As for the Image Entertainment release, I'm going to trade this in at some point. Okay, mini rant aside, let's jump right into what I have for y'all, shall we? First one I got from Zia is a 3D Blu-ray, 3D only version on Blu-ray, and I've already owned on the standard Blu-ray in my collection, but it's for the 3D collection. That is Ready Player One. Saw this in the theater long time ago, and I had a lot of fun with it. Now, it's not a perfect movie, mind you. nor is it one of Spielberg's best, but I do enjoy it for what it is. Had fun seeing so many pop culture references, including the ones I do enjoy. Now, this doesn't have any special features, but again, I own the regular Blu-ray release of it, which has all the features, plus some Target exclusive features on a separate bonus DVD. So, yeah, can't wait to check it out in 3D once I either pull out my PlayStation 3D display that I have wrapped in bubble wrap, or pop it in my PS4 and put on my PlayStation VR headset. Next one is a movie I never saw, but judging from what I've seen from the trailers and other previews, including some random clips I saw on YouTube, and that is the Lego Movie in 3D. And thankfully, it has both the 2D and 3D versions in one set, along with most of its special features. So, I've yet to check this out. Do love me some Legos. Next up is one I got from, if I'm not mistaken, it could be Zia, or if I'm wrong, it could be Goodwill. But regardless, it is exactly a blind buy. It is directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, and it is not exactly Resident Evil, nor is it Monster Hunter, the movie. It's Pompeii with a bunch of famous actors, including Kiefer Sutherland and Carrie-Anne Moss, to name a few. Rest of them, I may have heard of them before, or have not heard much of, whether I've seen them or not. Not really sure of it yet, but regardless, I do not recommend buying movies blindly without knowing what you're exactly getting. But I do enjoy movies about volcanoes, like Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones, and Dante's Peak with Linda Hamilton and Pierce Brosnan. As you can see here, both the 2D and 3D versions are on their separate discs, which I find a little weird, because sometimes Sony packs both 2D and 3D movies in one disc, but never mind. Sometimes they're packed in one disc, and sometimes they're packed separately. Next up is another movie that I have not seen previews of, but it is 300: Rise of the Empire. If I remember correctly, it is a prequel, or if I'm wrong, it is likely a sequel. I'll have to look into it someday. I do enjoy the first 300, though despite not seeing the whole movie in its entirety. I've seen most of its portion back in the day when I was a kid or a teenager, when it was on TV. And I'm likely gonna marathon both these 300 movies, or check one of them out in my spare time, and then watch this on my PlayStation VR headset someday. Just a Instagram notifications. Someone's been sending me some random videos that I really don't care for, but moving on. Aside from that, next up I have here are two titles I failed to show you in my previous collection update video, and that is the only 4K title I have here in the stack, called Transformers 1, a prequel to the entire Transformers series, a retelling and origin story of the Transformers. Had a blast with this a while back when this was back in theaters. Really enjoyed it. The animation is solid. The actors are equally great in their own parts, and the story is excellent. At least from what I can remember back in the theater. I really gotta give this a rewatch someday. I do love me some Transformers. And the other title I have failed to show you in my... Pardon me, just got a little sidetracked from something else. Something came to mind, but never mind. Alright. Next title I failed to show you in my previous collection update video and is Godzilla Minus One. Got both this and Transformers 1 back at Walmart a while back. Here's the movie along with its special features. Next up, to start up what I have on Blu-ray, is two triple features. One of which I got from eBay. That is the Steve McQueen triple feature. Includes Bullet, The Getaway, which I've only seen a little portion of it, and I've yet to finish it someday, and The Cincinnati Kid. Now, I have not seen either of those movies, but I do enjoy him in some other movies, like The Magnificent Seven with Yul Brynner, and other actors like young Charles Bronson, and Eli Wallach before he was in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and also Ape Escape, not Ape Escape, The Great Escape. I don't know how I mix those names, but it is what it is. It happens sometimes to the best of all of us. Next up is another triple feature, but this time I got this from Amazon. That is the El Mariachi triple feature. That includes the original El Mariachi by Robert Rodriguez in his directorial debut, Desperado with Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, Cheech Marin, Steve Buscemi, and Quentin Tarantino. And last but not least, Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Also starring Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, as well as others like Johnny Depp, Mickey Rourke, Eva Mendes, Enrique Iglesias, Danny Trejo, and Willem Dafoe. I've seen the first El Mariachi and I really enjoyed it. Now I've only seen bits and pieces of Desperado, and I've almost seen Once Upon a Time in Mexico in its entirety, and I've yet to revisit both those last two movies at some point. Next one up I got from Goodwill, and that is Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Now, I've only seen bits and pieces of it back on TV, and I've yet to give this movie a rewatch in its entirety. I remembered it being really interesting. And I have seen the first three Planet of the Apes, but have yet to check out the other two OG Planet of the Apes movies, and I have seen the god awful Tim Burton remake with Mark Wahlberg. Rest of them I'm really not sure yet, but maybe one day down the road I might check out its later follow-ups. Who knows? Next up is I can't believe I forgot this one was also a 3D movie. Now there's only about 5. And that is Dread with Karl Urban. Now, if I recall, I've almost seen its entirety, but I am curious about this movie in 3D. So I am excited to pop this in my PS4 Pro and put on my PSVR headset to see how it is. Or better yet, just pull on my PlayStation 3D display and see how it looks in 3D. It does look interesting. Just making sure I've shown you some of those movies. Next up, sorry, I got a little sidetracked. Next up is one I got from Zia, and that is another movie I've seen recently, and that is Super 8. Excellent sci-fi thriller with some unknowns, whether they be no matter how young or old they are. I really enjoyed it. Cast is really solid, and the story is captivating in my opinion. Really enjoy it. Excellent movie. Next up is a movie I'm surprised to see is out of print on Blu-ray, and I'm thankful to snag this one back at Zia, and that is Stargate, the 15th anniversary edition. Now I think it has almost all the special features that were present in past DVDs. Plus it includes both the original theatrical and unrated extended cuts in one disc. There's nothing else except for the disc inside. Alright, last 5 movies before I get into the games I have here are 5 titles I've ordered back at Kino Lorber's site, including a Scorpion releasing title. Some of these titles are out of print now, including this one, Jack the Giant Killer, a fantasy action movie that I remember seeing a trailer of back in the trailer compilation, Fantastic Dinosaurs of the movie. The stop motion creature effects look really interesting, and I have yet to see how this movie holds up once I give it a shot at some point. Here's the disc, and if I could show you without any glare, here's the alternate cover art. I'll worry about the trash once I'm done recording. Next up is an early 80s drama from Universal Studios, and it stars Timothy Hutton of Ordinary People, Stephen King's The Dark Half, as well as other movies and shows he is starred in, including The Falcon and the Snowman with Sean Penn, which it's been years since I've seen The Falcon and the Snowman. I remember enjoying the song that was featured in the movie, David Bowie's This Is Not America. But we're not talking about The Falcon and the Snowman. It's Iceman, about a group of researchers or scientists that found a 40-year-old man frozen in ice and have somehow brought him back to life. And one of them is trying to protect him, while others want to harm him to study. If I remember correctly, I'm not really sure yet. I'll have to rewatch the trailer at some point. But regardless, I find the premise really interesting, and have yet to give this one a watch at some point. Features include audio commentary by the director, and a separate another audio commentary, but this time by the film historian and film critic. And to conclude the list is a theatrical trailer. No alternate cover art. Next up is a late 70s Mexican-produced shark movie called Tintorera, or Tiger Shark. It is an MGM title released by Scorpion Releasing. Features include audio commentary by film scholars or historians. I'm not really sure yet. And as always, a theatrical trailer. If I could get this wrapper off. Here's the disc. Oh shoot. Almost messed up the disc with my fingerprints. But hopefully it doesn't mess up my viewing experience once I pop it in. I'll have to wipe this off. Thankfully my t-shirt is already fresh and clean. But before I put it back in, here's the alternate cover art, as I anticipated. Just making sure I know where the special features list is. Next two titles are from Universal Studios, one of which is an early to mid-80s drama with Mel Gibson, Sissy Spacek, and Scott Glenn. And I enjoy all three of those actors in their own movies, and that is The River. Now, I remember the trailer being interesting, though regardless if I vaguely remember, I am interested. And again, I do enjoy these actors. Mel Gibson from the Mad Max trilogy and the Lethal Weapon saga, as well as others like Braveheart, the underrated Mutiny of the Bounty adaptation called The Bounty, Sissy Spacek from Carrie, and Scott Glenn from, if I remember correctly, Silverado and The Silence of the Lambs. And like I said, like I said with other movies, and I'll say it again, I am more willing to give this one a shot. And to conclude my list of Kino Lorber, my stack of Kino Lorber titles, if I can get this wrapping off, should have done this early, before I recorded, and that is the early 90s action thriller with Kim Basinger, how do I pronounce it? I'll have to look it up at some point. Hopefully I'm not butchering the name. And also, may you rest in peace, Val Kilmer. It is The Real McCoy, also starring Terrence Stamp from Superman 2, Alien Nation, and Yes Man with Jim Carrey. Decent Jim Carrey movie, by the way. It features music by Brad Fiedel, who's worked on the first two Terminator movies, Fright Night, and the underappreciated classic that is Total Recall, to name a few. And last but not least, it is directed by Russell Mulcahy of Highlander fame. If I could get this to focus. Just trying to get the hang of the controls. Forgive me for the minor hiccup. But, like I said, I am still learning how to utilize the controls properly. And do keep in mind, I just got a new PC. So, it's going to be a huge adjustment for me to get the hang of. Alright, to conclude this collection update, I'm now going to get into the games. And I said this once earlier, and I'll say it again. There's only 3 games. 2 PS3 games, and 1 PS Vita game. First up, if I remember correctly, I got this from Zia. That is Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Now, I do love me some Star Wars, and the gameplay looks really interesting. And I have yet to check this out at some point, see if I enjoy it. Despite this being a black label, it includes a red labeled greatest hits disc inside the Black Label cover. But it doesn't matter. Just something minor I'd point out for the hell of it. Alright. Next to I have here, I got from Book Off this morning or this afternoon. That is the History Channel's Civil War Secret Missions. Is developed by the now defunct Cauldron, who had one time purchased by and merged into Bohemia Interactive, if I remember correctly. Now I have seen a little portion of its gameplay, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna enjoy this game, but I'll most likely enjoy the game's weapon animations. For what I've seen before, Cauldron Interactive has done some really interesting weapon animations, especially when it comes to the weapon's attention to detail. Like in Jurassic the Hunted, my player character reloads 3 shells at a time in the shotgun, or 2 shells at a time if he were to reload. If he just shot only about 2 shotgun shells. Regardless whether some of their games are good or bad, they have some really interesting animations. And I am willing to give it a shot at some point regardless. Alright. Last but not least I have here is the only PS Vita title for the collection. That is Uncharted Golden Abyss. It is developed by Bend Studio, long before they developed Days Gone. Now there is no collectible insert, nor is there a manual, but there's the game. Now, I really haven't played much of the Uncharted games, though I've started playing the first Uncharted game back on my Twitch channel, and I'm really enjoying it. If any of you have seen these movies or have played any of those games, feel free to let me know in the comments section down below, as always. If you enjoy this collection update, be sure you leave a like, as it means your support. And as always, take care, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.